Welcome to the Raw Sanity Show. On today's show, we're going to talk about Draymond Green. He was on the Paul George podcast. He stated that he lost his confidence. We're also going to talk about those Jets, the head coach Robert Saleh, the quarterback Zach Wilson, and what Joe Namath had to say about Zach Wilson. Now, Draymond Green losing his confidence seems crazy, doesn't it? No way, no how, no way this dude, not Draymond, lose his confidence. But he did. But how and why did it happen? Let's find out. And remember to smash the like button.
We start having success. And once we start having success, this is now really into my third year. Steve takes over. And that's when it really opened that up. And once we start having success, I'm like, all right, I need to do more and more and more of this. And then I start having my own personal success.
Right.
And it all just blossomed. Now I'll take you to another space though. As that continued to blossom, then we have our success, then KD comes. My individual game as far as scoring and shooting suffered.
Mm-hmm.
Because then that became so much of what they wanted me to do.
Mm-hmm.
The shooting wasn't a priority at all. It's like, and so then I started being called and viewed as a non-shooter when in fact I shot 37% from three. Like, I remember, shot shit out the ball.
Right,
like,
right.
And no one was just helping off of me.
Right.
But then I started being like spoke to and viewed as a non-shooter just because I was doing so much to get those guys involved.
Right.
And in turn, I lost my confidence. And so I lost my confidence in my shot. So how many listen to this too? Don't ever lose your confidence. Like, but I lost my confidence in my shot. And, you know, I'm trying to get K involved. I'm trying to get Steph involved. I'm trying to get Clay involved. In my mind, I'm thinking like, man, Stephanie came down and hoisted three crazy shots. And because he did, Clay just came down and hoisted one from half court. And next time he came down and hoisted one from the other side of half court. And by the way, it's been now 8 possessions that Kevin hasn't touched the ball. So I catch the ball and I may be in a position to shoot it, but I'm like, K ain't touched the ball. I need to get him a look. And just making, that's the point guard in me, just making sure everybody touched the ball. But it really took an impact. It really had an impact on my offensive game and especially my confidence and my mindset. Because then once it was like, oh, well, those guys are shooting the ball. So our non-shooter, and it's like I'm being mentioned as the non-shooter, start to believe it. You know, as great as it was and it has been, and I wouldn't change it for a thing in the world, it had a negative impact as well because it, you know, it, like I said, I lost all confidence. Like
Draymond Green, I think we would all agree, is a very strong-minded guy. But nevertheless, the dude lost his swag, his confidence to shoot the ball because he was being called and viewed as a non-shooter. Now, this can happen to a strong-minded individual like Draymond Green. How about the average person, right? The average person that in the walks of life, some words get to them. They're being called whatever, and they lose their confidence to do whatever they need to do in life to move forward. So people say words don't bother me or words should not bother other people, but words do bother people. So we should definitely be careful of what we say about other people. But now, this also came into my mind. The Jordan Poole situation. Draymond Green losing his confidence and Jordan Poole confidence rising. Could this be part or one of the reasons why? I'm not saying the main reason why, but one of the reasons why Draymond got so upset about Jordan Poole and punched him. Could this be part of that equation? Could be. Don't know for sure, but could be. Now let's talk about the Jets, Robert Saleh, Zach Wilson, and Joe Namath. Every show seems to be talking about how Robert is now showing too much support for Zach. I mean, you got the pundits, you got Stephen A. Smith, you got the Speak. I mean, you got Undisputed, you got sports pages, all saying basically the same thing. He's going to lose the locker room. He's showing too much support for Zach Wilson. But what do you want him really to say? Do you want Saleh to come out and rip Zach Wilson? Will that help his confidence? As we just talked about how important confidence is and how shaky, I don't want to use the word shaky, excuse me, but how that can affect someone, especially Zach Wilson. He was benched last year. He didn't even plan to start this year. He didn't ask, hey, Aaron Rodgers, go get hurt. That dude, Zach Wilson, I'm sad to say that was probably the worst thing that could happen to him. Could Zach overcome this situation? Yes, he could, but he has to get his confidence back. And I hope he's not listening to the media and hearing all this negative talk, because this would definitely, no doubt, shake his confidence. And even his teammates looking at him the wrong way probably could shake his confidence. Maybe it's not affecting him, but it certainly looks like it on the field, doesn't it? Looks like it on the field. Now, Joe Namath had the audacity to say on the Michael Kay show that Wilson's performance was disgusting and that he's seen enough of Zach Wilson. You know, Joe Namath won the Super Bowl. Granted, hey, Broadway Joe, you said you all would win the Super Bowl, and you all did. Great for you. But Joe Namath did not have a outstanding career. His stats are not that great. But in all fairness to Joe, the QBs back in those days, the 60s and the 70s, they did not have a high percentage rate. At least the few quarterback stats I looked at. But let's get into Joe stats because they're terrible in some years. They're absolutely terrible. So you take Joe stats in the Super Bowl year. Let's look at the Super Bowl year, 1968. He threw 15 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. Granted, he threw for over 3,000 yards. His percentage was 49%. But like I said, their percentage in the early days were not good like they are today. Quarterbacks, you want a quarterback today to throw 60, in the 63% or better. And you go 1967, he threw for over 4,000 yards. He had 26 touchdowns. You might say awesome. 28 interceptions. His first year in the league, 1965, or I should say, starting as the Jets quarterback, 18 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. 1966, 19 touchdowns, 27 interceptions. 27 interceptions. Throughout his career, he has thrown more interceptions each year on an average than touchdowns. In 1976, he threw 16 interceptions and 4 touchdowns. So Broadway Joe shouldn't have said anything about bad play because Broadway Joe Namath's play wasn't good at all. Really. Yeah, he won a Super Bowl. I didn't see that Super Bowl, but I'm going to say the defense won that Super Bowl. And the running back had 30 carries for 119 yards, almost 4 yards a carry. Now, Joe played all right. He was like 17 or 29 for over 200 yards. Not bad, but he didn't light it up. So for him to call out Zach Wilson and basically saying he disgusted about the situation is shameful because Joe couldn't play in this era with the stats he put up in the 60s and 70s. He couldn't play. Once again, subscribe to the video. Smash the like button. And thank you for taking time out of your time to watch the Rob Sanders Show.